Long ago, a wise Qazi walked calmly with his donkey on a dusty village path. The Qazi carried a small wooden stick, while the donkey quietly followed him. The peaceful scene reflected the simple life of old times, where man and animal shared their daily journey together. As the Qazi and his donkey entered the village, curious eyes turned toward them. Men in turbans, women in simple dresses, and children gathered to watch. Some smiled, others whispered among themselves. For the villagers, even such a simple sight brought curiosity and amusement to their quiet day. Soon whispers turned into criticism. Some villagers mocked the Qazi, saying he was foolish for walking beside his donkey instead of riding it. Children laughed, while elders shook their heads. The Qazi, however, remained calm and silent, listening carefully but not reacting to the harsh comments. To satisfy the people, the Qazi mounted his donkey. But again, criticism arose. Villagers complained that he was burdening the poor animal. Children laughed loudly, and adults argued among themselves. The Qazi sat quietly on the donkey, realizing that no matter what he did, people were never satisfied. Finally, the Qazi understood an important truth. People will always have something to say. He continued his journey with his donkey, ignoring the voices behind him. The golden sunlight lit the path ahead, while the villagers kept gossiping. In silence, the Qazi found his inner peace. In the early morning, the Qazi walked through the narrow dirt lanes of the village with his donkey by his side. The soft sunlight spread gently across the ground. Peace shone on the Qazi's face, while the donkey followed calmly, as if both were lifelong companions on this journey. The Qazi stopped beneath a large shady tree. A few villagers sat nearby on the ground, engaged in quiet talk. Resting his stick on the earth, the Qazi looked around peacefully. The donkey stood silently beside him, patient and loyal, like a shadow that never left its master's side. Villagers gathered around the Qazi with respect, asking their questions. The Qazi raised his hand gently and began to reply with wisdom. Everyone listened attentively. Close by, the donkey grazed on the grass, blending into the stillness of the moment, as if it too was part of the conversation. When the prayer time came, the Qazi walked toward a small mud brick mosque. He tied his donkey to a wooden pole nearby. From behind the wall, a little village child peeked shyly at the donkey, a smile of innocent wonder brightening his young face. Evening had fallen. The Qazi came out of the mosque and walked to his donkey. Placing a kind hand on its back, he smiled softly, as if thanking it for its patience. The village paths were quiet, and the fading sunlight bathed everything in a golden, peaceful glow. The prisoner sat quietly in his dark cell, his face calm despite the chains that bound him. The dim glow of an oil lamp revealed the strength in his eyes, showing that faith still burned within his heart, even in the silence of captivity. Standing firm in the prison yard, the prisoner leaned on his wooden staff. His simple brown clothes and sandals reflected his humble life, yet his strong gaze and steady posture told the guards that his spirit could never be chained, no matter how heavy the prison walls felt. A guard unlocked the iron door, leading the prisoner out with caution. The sound of footsteps echoed through the cold corridor. Though bound, the man walked with dignity. His staff remained tightly in his hand, symbolizing his unbroken strength and trust in Allah's will. The prisoner stood still in the dim prison corridor, holding his staff firmly. His ragged clothes and sandals showed hardship, but his eyes shone with courage. Behind him, the iron door cast a shadow, reminding him of captivity, yet he remained unshaken in faith and determination. As dawn broke, the prisoner raised his head to the sky, light reflecting across his weary face. He whispered words of prayer, his voice soft but filled with hope. Even within prison walls, his heart was free, lifted by trust in Allah's mercy and justice. The Qazi walked through the narrow village path with his donkey beside him. Holding a wooden staff, his face showed calm dignity. Villagers peeked curiously from mud brick houses, watching silently. The scene reflected the simplicity of old times, with trees and soft morning light surrounding the quiet path. Under a large, shady tree, the Qazi sat in deep thought while his donkey stood calmly tied nearby. He gently stroked his beard, reflecting on important matters. Warm sunlight spread across the mud houses in the background, creating a peaceful atmosphere filled with wisdom and stillness. The Qazi rode his gray donkey along the dusty village path. Children and villagers stood on the sides, whispering and pointing at him curiously, yet his face remained calm and composed. The donkey carried a simple wooden saddle, blending naturally into the rustic surroundings. At the old village market, the Qazi stood with his donkey among wooden stalls and traders. He raised his hand while speaking, and the villagers listened respectfully to his wise words. The warm golden tones filled the air, reflecting the energy and tradition of the past. Leaving the crowded market, the Qazi walked along a quiet village path with his donkey following. He held his wooden staff firmly, his face peaceful as the golden sunset painted the sky. The calm journey reflected the simple yet dignified life of those times. The Qazi sat inside his mud-walled room on a simple floor mat, holding his wooden staff with a serious expression. Outside the open door, his donkey stood calmly tied near a tree. Villagers gathered respectfully inside, eager to hear the Qazi's final judgment. The Qazi raised his hand and spoke with wisdom, advising the villagers. His words carried authority and calm strength. The donkey stood nearby, quietly waiting. The villagers listened attentively, nodding their heads in agreement, showing deep respect for the Qazi's guidance and judgment. Outside the Qazi's mud house, villagers stood in groups discussing his wise words. Some pointed toward the donkey tied nearby, while others spoke softly to one another. Inside, the Qazi remained calm, sitting with his staff resting across his knees in quiet dignity. The Qazi stepped outside his simple home with his donkey beside him. Villagers stood respectfully, some with folded hands and lowered heads. His calm gaze reflected wisdom and peace. The warm glow of the evening light spread across the village, creating a serene atmosphere. The Qazi walked slowly along a quiet village path with his donkey following behind. His staff was firm in his hand, and his face shone with dignity. The golden sunset lit the sky as villagers waved farewell from a distance, marking the story's peaceful ending. From this story, we learned that wisdom and patience bring honor, while arrogance and ignorance always lead to harm. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell icon so you never miss an update.